right, shall we kick it off? I think we're 1 minute past 12. Let's kick it off as people are joining. We do a quick admin intro before we go into the webinar. You have seen we have the webinar chat possibility where you can, say hi to everybody. For any questions, and this is really an administrative topic for us, for any questions, please use the F&A or the Q&A section in Zoom, because then we can moderate the question much more better and we don't miss out on any important questions or so. So please use that feature with the Q&A F&A section. Obviously, we try to monitor the webinar chat as well for any questions. If you have during the webinar any questions to Katarina or myself, just write them down in the F&A or in the chat, but preferably in the F&A section. And then occasionally we will interrupt the webinar to answer the question right away. Otherwise, we do have time planned for a Q&A at the end. So we will make sure that every question gets an answer. And I'm looking forward to all the cool questions that you have. With that being said, I think we can start into the webinar topic of today, Legal AI Trends for 2025. With me today is Katarina Lechner. Kat, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, definitely. So I'm Katarina. I lead product at Legartis. My background is in product management and data science and AI. And basically, I spent the past 13 years building AI products in both startups as well as corporations, and also in technology consulting. And I'm really excited here. We already discussed at the beginning. We have a lot of new AI capabilities on the rise and a lot of new opportunities that they bring. So I'm really excited to discuss this with Darko.
Wonderful to have you here, Kat. My name is Darko. I'm leading the commercial team at Legartis. So what you're just witnessing with the webinar, that's the marketing team, Nicole, pushing that. Then at one point, if you talk to me, then you're at the sales department. And hopefully at one point, you will get to meet our customer success team, which would then mean that you became a customer of Legartis. And what I do is basically I promise the world, and then Katarina has to figure out how we can do technically, bring the AI to that level, what I promise out there. So with that being said, let's jump into the topic of today, large language model trends. Katarina, you want to go?
Yes. So at the beginning, we wanted to mention some trends so that we start from the technology perspective and we can understand what these new capabilities are and then see how they translate into the legal world. So the first trend that we see from our side is that while in 2024 and continuing also in 2025, there have been a lot of power that came to the model. So we have some really big models nowadays. But at the same time, what is happening is that the models are becoming more efficient. And why this is important is because, of course, models can become bigger and have greater performance. But for us to be able to implement them and really for a broader adoption across the industries, we need smaller models that have the same performance. And this is what's happening. And we also think that this will continue in 2025, 2026. Which is really great news for us. And as I already mentioned, at the same time, we have still these ultra powerful models. They are still growing, but there is a limit to how much they can scale. The second trend that we identified is regionalization, and why this is interesting, especially for us on the European market, because a lot of the big powerful models come from the US or other places. But for us, we have some particular things like a lot of different languages. Also, we have different legislation for data privacy. So it is important also that in our region there are models that kind of embody these differences and are more specialized in that. Also, there are some companies that are building their own large language models, and this was quite a big trend in 2024. And still to today, we think this comes with quite some risks. Because building your own models is very, very costly, even though we have already said that the resources or the need for resources goes a little bit down, but it is still very, very high in maintenance, and there's a lot of risk. So yeah, everybody who does that should take this into consideration.
And Katarina, here a question from my side, because you're much deeper into the technology. The costly thing when you want to do your own LLM, the costly thing comes with improving the quality of the AI. So setting up an LLM and everything, that there's some cost to it, but then really performing and improving the quality of it for your use case, that's the costly thing behind it, right?
So the costly thing really is also about building your own large language model, because so we have some ways of how so the one way how you can work with an existing large language model is that you fine tune it. That is costly as well. But here we are also mentioning like building your own model from scratch, and that's a really different story.
Okay. Understood. Thanks for clarification.
Another trend that we see, and this is again very great news, is that there is a rise in explainability, in more transparency, explaining how the models think, what they do, how they decide. And we think that this is really something that is a must-have, because without transparency, without the users understanding what the models are doing, there is no trust. So this is helping, and we already see it also in our clients that trust is AI overall is rising. And in the area of security and compliance, there's a lot of risks. So what we all need to be more aware of, and if you are selecting any kind of solution, you need to make sure that the company is really handling all these security issues properly. Because with new technologies, of course, new ways of how to break them are rising. And the absolutely last trend, and I think also the main that we will further discuss, is the rise of AI agents. And I'm very sure you've already heard about agents, as it's all over the news everywhere. And we will further explain why that really is the news, and it's not just the hype. And go to the next slide. So AI agents. In what we identified are two kind of streams where we think they are very powerful, or they are really game changers. The first one is workflow automations. And this is the most typical use case discussed everywhere, where, for example, in our area, we can use these agents for research, drafting, and basically in any area of the legal work. And then the second one, which is maybe less discussed, but so much more important, is in the area of prompting. So whereas the whole last year, what we were discussing and communicating that yes, prompting is super important. This is the skill of these years and the years to come. What we see, luckily, is that prompting is becoming more easier. And why is that? Because we can actually use these agents to do the prompting. So they can come up with really powerful prompts from very simple instructions that we as humans give them. And we also believe that this is really, really a game changer for our industry. Now, to explain what an agent is. An agent, basically, it's still a large language model that you, same way as when you talk to ChatGPT or any other large language model, you instruct with a prompt. So that's how you communicate with it. But what is interesting about agents is that they come with, it's like a large language model that comes with some superpowers. And therefore, the first one, it's still it is task specific. So basically, when we talk about an agent, one agent still focuses on a certain area or a certain task that it is good in. So same as humans, usually we are specialists and we specialize in one area. Now the second superpower is, and this is I think the really the biggest one, is that it now has access to different tools. So while before models were trained on a lot of data, but this data, there was a cutoff. So when a model came out, already the data it was trained or trained on, and the information that it had was already outdated when it came out. Now, models today, thanks to a protocol that was invented, can have access to a huge variety of different tools. So, for example, if I was building a weather application or a travel application and I needed access to the current weather, there is an API that the agent is able to call and gives it back the information that it needs, and then it can further work with it. And really, we can call very many different tools, and the tools are growing and growing and growing. So the models have really very good contextual information now. Now, the third superpower is long-term memory. And what it means that basically what we want to do with models, we want to adjust them to a specific context. And now we already discussed, we have tools, but at the same time, the models have memory where they can store a lot of information that are relevant specifically for them. So while the whole last year we were talking about retrieval augmented generation, that, now we have context that we can, that comes with a prompt. But this is not enough because context is limited. So now these agents, they actually have a memory they can work with a bunch of different information. They can store them there and access when they need. And then why agents are also very special, the fourth superpower, is the feedback loop. Because again, how can we and how can a model become better only if it acts on a feedback? So now we have ways how we can implement feedback loops where the models then see what the reaction to what their output is, and then can improve themselves, and so become more and more powerful for this task that they are solving.
Yeah.
Go
Let me
to
just
the next
quickly.
slide, I think.
Yeah, no, I lost my mouse clicker here, so sorry for that.
And so now to get the full picture, so we explained one agent, and this still is focusing on a specific task. So think about it as a specialist. But if multiple specialists, same as in teams, work together, they can create really something great. And here is where we start talking about agentic frameworks, or you can also hear the term agentic AI a lot. Where now we have kind of another agent on top of all of the different specialists, and this is, I can call him a manager, or we can call him a reasoning agent. And this agent would then, its only task would be to, based on the input of the user, to analyze that and figure out, okay, so which of my specialists is the best to answer this question or to solve this topic. And the answer comes back, and then it thinks, okay, do I need now another agent to do some other part of it? And then we have a flow of different agents solving their particular task, and they are all orchestrated by the manager. So that's basically the what we are building now, and why this is so powerful, because many different specialists are powerful in themselves, but really this big system is the big game changer.
And this should also help, I mean, not professionals like you or software engineers to think of how such a framework should work and how it should be set up, because then, and then we jump into the next the next topic, from the theory to the practical use cases, how you actually, what are the implications in legal AI, and when I talk to our customers, to our leads that are interested in working with Legartis, they always they come with like concrete use cases like we need to be more efficient. We need to reduce the manual work. And that, understanding of manual work is a pain point where the solution can be like an agentic framework, right?
Yes, exactly,
When,
exactly.
yeah.
So
And when
the
we,
beauty of it for me is that really this agentic framework is just you kind of have to break down your problem into these smaller pieces, and then for each of them you can have an agent and having orchestrated. So it's like a
yeah.
very nice framework to break down your problem.
Exactly. And to do that then on an operational level in the daily business, you need to understand, even as a lawyer, you need to understand how this setup works in the background, how the stage is built so you can actually stand on a stage, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
what we normally do with our customers, and then we go more into the practicality of AI agents, is like we look at the life cycle of a contract. You start with drafting, then you are reviewing and negotiating a contract, and at one point you need an approval from both sides, internal approvals. Then you sign it, and then you manage the contracts. And within those, let's say, milestones, you have different tasks to fulfill. And if you break it down like that, as a lawyer, as a non-technical person, you suddenly come up and say, hey, is this possible to actually, put AI onto it? Can we draft a tool with an input from my side, and in the background there's an agent drafting the proper contract? Or do we have a tool like Legartis in a contract review space? Is there somewhere where we have, especially for bigger companies, all the company policies that there are floating around in the different departments and teams and everything? Can we summarize that? And is that accessible, that knowledge? So with all that being said, if you go and say, okay, this is the contract lifecycle, these are the tasks that we do, and these are the manual tasks, and suddenly you come up with ideas and say, hey, along this contract lifecycle journey, I have a couple of ideas. And this illustration should really like summarize it, where we see on the left side, we have the issue of delayed revenues, for example, or we are wasting so much time in reviewing NDAs, or like standard contracts. And then not only I as a lawyer, but my procurement team needs to review it, then I review it, then management reviews it. And that's like 3 people, 4 people already reviewing the same standard contract. Detecting hidden risks, disconnecting contract reviews from the strategy and everything. So these are all the pain points that we hear, and now we try to translate that, what we hear in the market, into what could actually be possible with AI. What we see, or what you guys came up is, from an autonomous contract agent, things that are now being built already, but with Legartis, by other companies, or are in the future will be built by companies. We are talking about automated contract drafting, review and negotiation, automated risk detection, legal compliance, strategic legal intelligence, which is also something that a lot of companies outsource today for 600-700 francs per hour to law firms to get that knowledge, to get that intelligence. Then monitoring of regulations, just the idea of, I have here 500 contracts in a specific area, and there's a regulation I can access online, and now I have to read the regulation, I have to summarize it in a spreadsheet, and then I have to go back and review my 500 contracts to that spreadsheet. That can be automated with AI agent. And that's the beauty of it. That's why I'm so excited about it. So these are all the things that we have identified, and it's not closing out. There's many more use cases that can be done. And then I think the big question, and that's something that I know, obviously, that you are working on, how can we make that? How can we, for example, with Legartis, start orchestrating all these agents through one platform, correctly?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is the ultimate goal. So at the beginning, how we approach it, that we try to solve individual use cases that we identify as the biggest pain points that Darko already mentioned. And then in the end, you want something that will basically know, okay, now I am in this situation, now I need to call this agent and solve that problem. Now this question is related to another of the use cases, then let's do that. So basically you don't need to think from yourself, you only pose the question, we do all the work.
Yeah, fantastic. With that being said, and you mentioned use cases, we do have a questionnaire, quite a small survey. What use cases or challenges would you like to see solved soon? Please vote now. And let's see, I have a secret winner from my side, but maybe I'm really off topic or off market. So I'm really curious on what our participants will vote for. There's some. I have the live results in front of me. That's why I know where it's heading. I
My
think
secret winner is winning.
yeah, exactly. Okay, interesting. We'll soon release the survey, the results. Then you can see for yourself. We are at 73. Everybody who has not done yet the voting will close the voting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We close the vote. Last one's coming in. Wonderful. And then I think we can release the results. And you see the contract review negotiation is something that is expected because that's like a use case, an imminent use case, because everybody knows how much time they spend on reviews. And if you can get back that time every day, and sometimes it's hours, there's more stuff that you can do, more valuable stuff for the company that you can do, risk detection, legal compliance. This is something that I have. I think that that was my assumption as well.
Yeah.
The drafting part depends always, like, do you have templates your own? Can you force your templates on or not? And then the ones that are left. Now let's jump into a couple of concrete use cases that we see. So the one thing that we have that we are talking about, that we are experimenting around, is autonomous legal research agents. So use case: a lawyer preparing a case asks an agent to find relevant precedents. I think that's a classical use case. Another use case: contract negotiation, redlining agents, so two companies. And that's the future, right? So we are not there yet, not because technically it's not possible. I think technically it is possible, but it's more like the lawyers are not there yet to trust the AI to actually really do that back and forth correctly. So, but the use case is interesting when you have two companies using AI for negotiation, preferably both use Legartis AI for negotiation, obviously, to finalize contracts. And then the agent analyzes terms, suggests counteroffers, ensures compliance before the last human review. And then lawyer in the company clicks the execute button, and then the contract is being executed. That will be a nice time saver during the day. Then the whole thing with CLM and risk assessment, an AI agent to monitor thousands of contracts, which is possibly today. AI agent identifies contracts nearing expiration, also possible today. Flags clauses that may violate new regulations. That's an interesting one. Especially, for example, we have this use case in the EU with the DORA regulation. So everybody who's joining the webinar today and is in the financial industry knows about DORA, which had been activated 17th of January this year, I think. And now you have to comply for all IT contracts that you have in your company for the DORA regulation. DORA is a Digital Operational Resilience Act. And now you have maybe hundreds or thousands of contracts in your company, and now you have to make sure that you're compliant to DORA. And instead of manually doing this, this can be actually done with AI. We already can do that. And then AI suggests like risk mitigation amendments before legal review, where you just say, hey, write me write me an amendment, and the AI makes a first suggestion. And then legal compliance monitoring agents. Again, this is something that is really like, it's time consuming to check the newest regulations and then check back your contracts and everything. So this is something that the AI can do for you. Kat, do you want to add anything to these use cases?
Not really. I think, well, these are just examples, and some of the things we also saw in the poll, that they were winning the risk assessment, the compliance, then the negotiation, redlining. Yeah, like there are tons of other smaller use cases, but I think these are big areas that we see as very relevant nowadays, and also concurrent by what you guys think.
Yeah, and one thing that I think a lot of AIs struggle with or need to find a solution is how to make sure that the AI actually reviews what they need to review. At Legartis, we call them playbooks. It's not a Legartis term. Many companies call the legal playbooks. But creating a playbook up until recently was a very manual, tedious process. It takes hours and hours and weeks of back and forth, just to make sure that AI understands which playbook and what is valid, what is compliant to the internal regulations. So what we have brought today is an example or how we do it in the future with Legartis, how AI agents will create contract playbooks in 2025. And 2025 means, Kat, it's like end of June, beginning of July, right?
Yes, it's like something that we are already internally using and testing. We are just now working on bringing it from the background to the presentation layer, basically. So it's very, very, very soon.
Yeah, and then the process is then really straightforward. You go on the platform, you upload a template contract, you upload additional information, and out of that, AI builds a playbook automatically, gives you a feedback. Then you get an F1 score on the accuracy, and then you can improve yourself the accuracy. And within a couple of hours, in best cases, you have like a fully fledged playbook on your templates, and you can do that for the whole company for any contract type, which is quite awesome. I think the last couple of weeks of development it was like an exponential development growth.
Absolutely. And one thing that I want to highlight here is that we are not just talking about, okay, we create some playbooks, but these playbooks are really tested. So we automatically create and label test sets on which we test it, so that we are sure, that what your playbook actually works. It's not just a bunch of thoughts that have been given to some large language model. There is really this quality control happening in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. And then let's go even one step higher up from the view perspective and give our audience also an overview of what Legartis is planning for this year. So all these developments that you see here, we call it the Legartis Revolution 2025. This is all things that Kat is, with her magic wand in the background, and the dev team, who are wizards in their profession. So what we created is the ability to actually review unlimited contract types. You have a contract type that is so specific for your industry, we can do it, right? You have like a contract type that never has been done before, we can build out a playbook for that. Then we're working on a fully automated customer onboarding process. So the interaction with the Legartis team is on a minimal scale, which reduces costs of implementation. But also, and that's most important, when I discuss projects with customers or soon-to-be customers, there's always like this concern of, is this a 1 or 2 year implementation project until we get off the ground with AI? And so this feature that you guys are building in the background, this will help you get off the ground with a legal AI solution within days and maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then you can, have low-hanging fruits, be productive, and show already a positive return on the investment. And we are working, or CAT is working hard on not becoming an SAP or an Oracle system where you need 2 years of implementation time, right? Another one, and that's also coming soon, autonomous contract review, fully automated contract reviews for some contract types. We understand some contracts are so complex that it's never going to be fully automated, and we've never, I mean, the next year or two maybe. But for the simpler ones, the NDAs, the DPAs of this world, so those highly standardized contracts, we will go into autonomous contract review by AI. We are also building, and I have seen a couple of first drafts of the AI assistant, which are an assistant that understands complex contracts, uncovers risks, deliver instant insights into the contracts. And then last but not least, and I think especially for the European market, covering all European languages is something that we are working on. And I think we cover today German, English, and French. So all those with Italian and Spanish and Polish and my home country, Croatian and Serbian contracts. In the future, it will also be possible to cover these languages. And that's, mind you, just for 2025. So we are pretty excited about that journey. Kat, because you are responsible for this roadmap.
Yes,
Or let's
I
say
created it.
revolution. Anything to add on this?
Yes, so yeah, as Darko mentioned already, the first 2 items there, they are literally here, almost. So last steps to be made. And one thing I wanted to add to it, because I also saw Pete's comment about augmentation of legal experts and not automation. And this is a very, very good point, actually. And that's why what we work on and what we want to achieve is that we automate contract types and work that can be automated. So where you really don't need to step in. Then there are other types, other contract types, other situations, other workflows where, yes, we are talking about the augmentation. So we are taking out what can be automated and then having the human as a sparring partner so that we make you more efficient. But already some contract types, for example, we believe that they can be fully automated, and we think that that's really a game changer for many of our clients and future clients. Yeah, and we are very confident in this roadmap actually. So it's really at the end of the year we want to be very flexible. So that whatever contract type, whatever requirement you have on your side, in whatever language, you basically can create a playbook for yourself in a matter of hours, 1-2 hours, and then you're done, and then it works. So that we kind of take the use cases from the very easy or easier contract types to also the complex ones. So it makes sense for you to create a playbook for a contract that you review maybe just a couple of times per year, because you still need to put your thoughts in it. So why not using this playbook, and then basically those contracts can be reviewed as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we are speaking of journeys, and we understand the legal AI topic as a marathon, not a sprint. So it's best to, every journey or every race starts with the first step. And the closer I get to my birthday, the more generous I get. So we would like to invite you to this journey together. If you have an idea on how to digitalize your contract review process, your contract analytics process, if you have a couple of ideas, we would like to offer you the first 6 months free of charge within a 2-year contract, and step on with us on the bus and make this journey together with the legal AI. get first-hand experience, also have first-hand interactions with Kat and her team on the product roadmap and what is coming. It's an exciting journey. If someone needs a little bit of a push from our side, so this is the offer. Reach out to us, to me, to the revenue team, to Nicole from marketing, if you're interested in at least starting with something. Always better than not doing anything. And you see with the development or the pace of development, if you wait now a year or two, you'll be 4 years behind. So best case scenario is start now. We don't charge you for the first 6 months, and then you will become proficient with legal AI in no time. So that's the offer from our side. With that being said, I think we can then jump into the Q&A session. And just scrolling through the chat, I saw a couple of questions there. One was from Alex. From product features perspective, what are the key advantages of Legartis comparing to the other players in the market? For example, Legora. Can you share something, Kat, on this?
Yes, I mean, I hope that we already managed to answer your question when we showed what we are building and well, where we are heading. Essentially, it really depends on your use case, what you are looking into. We are very strong in the use cases where we solve, and then there are others that we are now building up, where you can join us and help us in building something that is really also matching your needs. So get in touch with us, and then we can deep dive into why it's really more relevant for you, why we are relevant for you.
Then Bert asked whether the slides are being shared. I think they will be shared at the end. We have another question. Also from Bert, how do you create the Legartis playbooks? Are they based on industry best practice playbooks? We have some best practice playbooks for NDAs. We are developing something for DPAs, which should be released like this or next week.
Yep.
We're thinking about software contracts, I think, and general terms and conditions and code of conduct and stuff like that for best practice playbooks. Other than that, is anything else planned on that?
So here, I think, let me explain a little bit how our playbook creation works. So basically, it's very flexible. So we can create you a playbook from, you just describe, I don't know what industry you are, what is your company size, and then how we would create your playbook is from a best practice. So Darko mentioned, we already have some best practice playbooks, and we are building more and more. So basically that's how we would do it. Then if you have more information, the more you share with us, the more customized it will be for you. Yeah? So maybe for you, really, you don't have any templates or internal policies that you already know and you want to start from scratch, then you start from the best practice. If you have them, then you can upload them. So whatever you have, either it's a template, that you are really happy with, and you're like, okay, this is how I want all my NDAs or whatever contracts to look like, then you upload that. If you have company policies in a spreadsheet, then you upload that, and basically then that's the information that we work with, and then that's the base of how your contract playbook will be created. So then we combine all this information and take out what makes sense. So it's really, really very flexible for whatever your use case is.
Then a question from Pete, which I couldn't answer. How do you not just understand different languages, but also different legal systems and their consequences?
Yes, so this is again the beauty of the agents, and that's why. But also that's why we are not there yet, but we plan to be there at the end of the year. So currently, the playbooks are basically very legal system agnostic, so to speak. So whatever you want to have there, you have there, and we figure it out from your contracts. But also what the layer we want to add is that we can actually call and know different legal systems, and then it will be basically adjusted to the regulation, but that's why it's a little bit further in our roadmap for this year.
And Pete, again, we invite you to participate in this journey. Those feedbacks and those questions are very valuable for us as a company, for CAT, from the product side. So if you want to start with Legartis and be part of this journey and make sure that we are building stuff that you guys in the field actually need, join us. Then we are going into the F&A section. So there's a question from Michael. How automated are your solutions? We very often need small contract amendments that don't require a complex approval and negotiation workflow. Is there also a simple solution where you just provide the existing individual contract and ask for amendment where a specific clause is amended? Result should be a Word document with the full amendment, including contracting parties, etc.
Mm-hmm.
That's a specific use case.
Yes, exactly. So my answer would be here, yeah, that's a specific use case that we don't do at this moment, but when you saw on our roadmap this AI assistant that we are building, that's basically one of the use cases we wanted to be able to handle. But it's something that we still need to adjust it to handle also this particular use case, because there are specific tools that you need to call. So that's also something that we will handle and is on our roadmap.
Yeah. And Michael, from my perspective, I would like to understand better whether this is really something that, you know, is a real pain that needs to be solved, or is it like a nuisance where you say, it would be nice to have this because it's bothering us a little bit, but it's not like, you know, when you have a headache after a great night before, that's just like it gets solved itself, right? Or is it like something that you really have to take care of? The next question, I'm not sure I understand that correctly. Maybe we need some more clarification. What about energy use and use of water? How are factoring this into the model? I can make anything out of it. Might be the energy use of the large language models behind our solution, or if the anonymous participant can clarify that, please help us. Otherwise, we go into the next question of Michael. Are your systems able to provide bilingual contracts properly formatted as a Word document? I think yes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you have two columns with one is English, one is Spanish, that's absolutely not a problem to actually do. This is a global criticism about use of AI. Okay, how are you considering this into building your model?
Sorry, which question are we answering now?
The anonymous
Okay.
participant posted, this is a global criticism about use of AI. How are you considering this into building your model? I think with the, I mean, there's a shift in energy use and everything, but also the models are getting more energy efficient. I'm not sure whether you can go back on AI at this point. So it's here to stay, and I think figuring out the energy efficient or efficiency behind it is something that we absolutely look at it. But then again, I think that's also a task for the big large language models providers, and not for Legartis. We are not able to change that much. But I can assure you, I'll turn off the light every time I leave the office.
I can maybe just add to it. We are constantly monitoring all the new models that are coming out, and just coming back to one of the trends that we identified, we are really happy about it. That the small models are just as powerful, because essentially it's for us, the motivation, obviously the business motivation is they are less costly and they take less resources. That's why they are less costly. So this is the win-win, basically. But as Darko said, it's not something that we will be able to solve on our side, but we try to behave responsibly wherever we can.
Yeah. And then another question from Alex to you, Katarina. It's a technical question. Did I get it right that from architectural perspective, you use different agents per different legal systems and then orchestrate them depends on the user prompt? What type of data lakes, data warehouses integration does Legartis currently support?
So we are not doing it at the moment, as I mentioned, but this is probably the way how we will do it. The dealing with different regulations, and then yeah, then we would orchestrate them exactly with probably one of the reasoning agents. And then
Integration question, yeah.
yeah, integrations. So basically, we are very flexible. It depends on you where you want your data. Well, the data is always stored on our side, so there is you are very safe there. And then what models we call, that depends on you. So basically, if your IT security is okay with one of the cloud providers, then those are the models, only those are the models that we will be using for your use cases. So this is how we handle it very flexibly, depending on what your IT security says.
Then another question from Laureen. Don't you already fully answer this? Okay, what are the standard integrations available with Legartis AI into existing systems? Microsoft Office, yes, we have, but are there also any other integrations possible?
So to do your contract review, yes, you can do it in Microsoft Word. So there we have an add-in built, but we also have a web version of the same thing. So that's basically not well. There you can do it wherever you are in whatever browser you want. In terms of integrations, that depends on what integration you have in mind in what use case. So again, for example, if you want, I don't know, your contract, your signed contracts with DocuSign to appear in our system. That's one of the integrations we currently don't support, but there are very many different use cases where you can have an integration. So it really depends on what your needs are.
So
for the review, you can do it in Microsoft Word or then in our web.
and we have a REST API, so everything that has also an open API there we can connect with. So the integration, it's more a technical question or a use case question. It's not whether we can integrate or not. As long as the other side has also an open API, we can connect anything with Legartis.
Exactly.
Then another question from Michael. I understand that this is not a purely legal task, but an important functionality would be an AI-based word formatting agent or similar, where I can request the tool to properly format Darko files. I'd love that also, especially contracts using specified format templates, etc., as there are any useful solutions. Not aware of. Maybe you know something, Kat.
Yeah, it's a struggle for all of us. There is, as far as we know, we haven't seen any useful solution that would really do it. We are also not planning to solve this particular use case, as it's not about the legal world, but it's about the formatting itself. So yeah, we are on the lookout as you are.
Yeah.
Let's hope somebody will solve it.
So Michael, if you find something, we can integrate with it, but we will not develop it ourselves. That's not our core competency. Then a question from Lydia, apropos languages, do your system read the contracts in Arabic, understand it, to work with it? No, we're not yet there with Arabic. I would say next year, so 2026. Katarina would probably say 2027. But this is something that we obviously also, not just Arabic, but also Mandarin and other languages not from the EU area. We'll definitely look at it come time, but at the moment it's not the biggest priority. At one point it will happen.
Yes, exactly.
Then another question from Alex. Alex, you need Legartis, so you can cover all questions with us. To Katarina and Darko, how did you solve the problem? 2 lawyers, 3 opinions from semantic and interpretation perspective. I'm not sure whether this is actually solvable. 2 lawyers, 3 opinions. That's a good one. Kat, how would you solve this?
So the way how we are approaching it is, and that's why we are again so excited about what we are building now, because there is no ultimate truth, as you said. It's really on the opinions, and the way how we built our system is that we want to know your opinions. So we want the test cases that we tested on will have your answers. So you can review them and you can say, okay, well, here I agree with the opinion of the AI, here I don't agree, and then we learn from it. And then for your next question, we know, okay, this is how he thinks about it. So to really use layman's words. And yeah, so this is how we make sure that it's customized for how you think about it, basically, because we are not, well, it's really impossible to be the ultimate judge. There is no objective opinion there.
Yeah. Or I can offer you my advice. You know, I do it at my home permanently. Rock, paper, scissors is a wonderful determination who has right. With that being said, we are at the end of the Q&A. If you have tomorrow, if you sleep over it and tomorrow there's an urgent question that you need an answer, reach out to us. You can find us, I think we have here, if you scan the QR code, you'll get the information. You also have here our email, so reach out to us if you have urgent questions. If you need more information, or if you want to start an evaluation, or want to start a pilot phase with us, let us know. Then with that being said, I think it was a great half hour, a little bit more than that, and we're almost on time.
Thank you guys for your very, very proactive participation. That's what we want. Great questions, and hope to see you, some of you at least.
And stay tuned. Nicole will reach out to you after that with another invitation for the next webinar, which will also be awesome. And yeah, speak soon.